Shalawam, shalawam. I want to start off by giving all praise to Yahawah, Shem, yahawashi. Double honors be upon the elders and apostles of GMS, and peace and blessings be upon the elect yasharahla and the brothers risking their life, pushing this truth day in and day out. Now, I want to title this video, Understanding the Great Power of Yahawah by Shem Yahawashi. And the reason why this topic was heavy on my mind is because, not saying that brothers don't, but it comes a time in your faith when you have to really understand the strength and the power that lies within the name Yahawah by Shem Yahawashi, within the Most High, the Son of the Most High. I'm gonna just start off with this precept first, and then you know, I'm gonna get into something else. But this Sirach 43 verse, I started at I started at 26. It says, by him the end hath Salah, by him the end of them hath prosperous success, and by his word all things consist. Right? It says, we may speak much and yet come short. Wherefore in some he is all. Verse 28, it says, how shall we be able to magnify him? For he is great above all his works. The Lord is terrible and very great, and marvelous in his power. When we glorify him, when we glorify the Lord, Yahawah by Shem Yahawashi, exalt him as much as ye can, for even yet will he far exceed, and when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. And you know, that's kind of, there's a little bit more in it, but that's kind of the point that I'm kind of trying to touch on. It says, the Lord is terrible and very great, and marvelous in his power. It says, you know, because the thing is, the names Yahawah by Shem Yahawashi, that's the actual name of the Most High, the one that created the heaven and the earth, the one that performed miracles, which I'm gonna get into, the one, the power he is. You know, it's so much power in that. You know, and the reason why I'm saying this is because when we pray to those names, and when we give reverence to those names, we got to understand that those names are actually existing. You know, those names are actually existing. The Most High holds so much power. The Most High, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, when ye glorify him, exalt him as much as ye can, for even yet will he far exceed. Saying, there's no, you cannot put a end, or you cannot put what the Most High is into a sentence. You can only put it into what his name is. He is. That's literally why he had to give us his name as that. Because the Most High far exceeds any sort of explanation you can say. You can say the Most High is a great power, but that's an understatement. And then when you say that's an understatement of an understatement. And it goes on, it keeps going on and going on. Because the Most High, I'm even in a loss of words to really say what he is, because you can't put a capsule to it, man. And the Most High is always known for letting the impossible to happen, or making the impossible possible, because he is the power, just to glorify his name. You know, it says verse 31 in Sirach 43 verse 31. This Sirach 43 verse 31. It says, who have seen him that he might tell us, and who can magnify him as he is? And no one can, man. Because if you were to magnify, there's no way we can magnify him as he is, because his power exceeds far beyond what words can express. You know, and And I wanted to say that because that is the power that we serve, man. Brothers got to understand that the power that we serve is the power that we can't even explain, man. That he's so powerful that we can't put a capsule on it. We can't say what he is, man. He just is. We can't put a limit to his power, man. We can't explain how powerful he is, because he far exceeds what we can ever say, man. And that's the power that we serve, man. That's the Lord. That's the Lord that allowed us to have his name, man. That's the same Lord that allowed us to pray to him, man. Brothers should not be taking his name for granted. Brothers should not be taking anything for granted, man. The Lord did not have to give us anything. The Lord did not have to do anything for us. But he allowed us to get his name. He allowed us to have his word. He allowed us to have his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. The Most High allowed that. And we ought to be grateful for it, because he's the power, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm in a loss for words to even say what he is, because his name just explains him, man. And that's why, yep. This Sirach, I start at Sirach 19 and 19. It says, the fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. The knowledge of his commandment, it says, Salah, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law, and the knowledge of his omnipotency. Now, the word omnipotency means all power. All power. It says, Salakia. It says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law. And it says, and the knowledge of his omnipotency. So the Most High, that's exactly the point that I'm trying to get at. The Most High has given us a piece of his power. And a piece of his power is his name. Us having his name holds that piece of power. And the faith in the name of Yahawah gives us that power that he has. It gives us an inkling of his power. Like the story that I'm gonna get into, you know, with Meshach, Shadrach, and Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. They believed in Yahawah, and they were lifted up because of the faith in his name and the power in his name. They had the omnipotency of the knowledge of his omnipotency, and the Most High dwelt with them in his all-powerfulness, man. And like I said, the Most High is always known for letting the impossible be possible. And the reason why I say that, and another reason why I say that too, is because the Most High, I'm speaking for myself, is a little bit of a testimony. And you know, even though it's probably not a big thing to brothers, it's a big thing to me, because the Most High is really looking out for me, you know. So me personally, I didn't have my birth certificate, and I ordered my birth certificate, and basically you can't, in Virginia, and I believe anywhere you go, you can't really do anything if you don't have ID. So I didn't have ID, and I needed my birth certificate. So I lost my birth certificate, and I ordered a new one, and it basically said that was going to take 20 to 30 days to process, and then it would take another week to get here. And I needed my ID as soon as possible. So, you know, the Most High let the impossible become possible, you know. And basically the ID was, my birth certificate was shipped within 1 day, and it got here, you know, all through the power of Yahawah, you know. Because I prayed upon his name and I had faith in his name, and he allowed that to happen, man. And that's why we say, call Yahawah. All praises be unto Yahawah. And even in this story, which I'm gonna get into, you know, it's gonna give you a glimpse of the power of Yahawah. And you know what? I'm gonna just start from the top and speed read a little bit. And you know, just to give intel on it. There's Daniel 3 verse 1. It says, Nebuchadnezzar the king had an image of gold whose height was 80 cubits, which a score is 20. A score is 20, so it said 80 cubits, 60 scores in height. Salah, 60 cubits in height. It says in the breadth of the thereof 6 cubits. So the height was 60 cubits, and the width of it was 6 cubits. And the cubit is about from the elbow to the basically to the tip of your finger. So that's about a cubit. It says he set it up in the plain of Duran in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes and the governors and the captains and the judges and the treasurers and the counselors and the sheriffs and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes and the governors and the captains and the judges and the treasurers and the counselors and the sheriffs and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image of Nebuchadnezzar, Salah, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud to you. Then a herald cried aloud to you. It is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all the kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Right. So it said they had a dedication, and a dedication to the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had built up to himself. So everybody in the province, everybody in the province had to give obeisance to that deity, or you can say that statue, you know. And reading along, just to catch you up, it says, and basically, once the music played, if they didn't bow down, then they would be cast into the furnace, the fiery furnace. Verse 7. Falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Right. So it said they had a dedication, and a dedication to the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had built up to himself. So everybody in the province, everybody in the province had to give obeisance to that deity, or you can say that statue, you know. And reading along, just to catch you up, it says, and basically, once the music played, if they didn't bow down, then they would be cast into the furnace, the fiery furnace. Verse 7, it says, therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all the kinds of music, all the people, and it says all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. It says, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. And you're going to see the Jews that it's talking about. It says, they spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and the kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever falleth not and worshipeth, that he shall be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Right. So you had one of the heathen nations of, obviously, probably was an Edomite, but I'm not going to speak on that because it doesn't say. You had one of them accused Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, or basically told King Nebuchadnezzar that they didn't bow down when the music was played. Now, reading along, it says, there were, verse 12 in Daniel 3, it says, there were certain Jews whom thou hast set the affairs of the provinces of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee, they serve not thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So these men, these faithful men, didn't bow down to the golden image and didn't give obeisance to it. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It says, then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all the kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that, Salah? And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hands? Right. So basically, Nebuchadnezzar was saying, he's like, if y'all, did you not know that if you didn't, he was telling them, like, y'all know if y'all don't serve my God, I'm gonna throw you in the burning fiery furnace. And he said, who's gonna deliver you out of that? Basically saying, like, he's trying to esteem himself as God. And then you got the response of the faithful men. Verse 16, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this manner. If it be so, our God, or it says our God or our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, it says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Right. So basically, they were saying, basically that we much rather go into the burning fiery furnace and the Most High deliver us rather than to serve Him, you know. And then reading along, verse 19, it says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage, which visage, it just means face, it says, was changed against against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated. So basically, he made the furnace as hot as it can be, or 7 times more hotter than it was, which that's spiritual in itself. It says, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, and it says, in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king commanded, therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace was exceeding hot, it says the flames of the fire slew the men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So the furnace was so hot that the men that were the mighty men that were bonding Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego into the furnace, they got consumed by the fire and they died by the fire. It says verse 23, and it says, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three bond into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And this is a catch. It says, he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they had no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of the Most High. Whoa. And like I said earlier, I said the Most High is known for making the impossible possible. And this is a form of impossible. If you get bound into by mighty men into the burning, into a basically you could say molten lava, and the Most High has it so that you come out of the molten lava untouched or unbruised. That's literally making the impossible possible, man. And that's exactly what happened. And the Most High, basically in this case, the Most High sent he sent an angel to keep them, to basically keep them healed, so they won't get burnt by the fire, And that's exactly what Nebuchadnezzar saw. That's why I say, I read it again, Salakia. It says, verse 24, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 bond into the midst of the fire? Then answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like a Son of the Most High. Right, because what's it called? I'll just read it again, verse 24. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bond into the midst of the fire? Then answered and said unto the king, they answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like a Son of the Most High. Right. So basically, the angel, the angel of the Heavenly Father, he helped Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego just walk out of the furnace, the fiery furnace, man. And it said the fourth was like a Son of the Most High. Right. And essentially it was the spirit basically coming down and helping them get out of that fiery furnace, just for the Most High's name to be glorified, which later on is going to say that. Verse 26, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High, Yahawah shall come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes and the governors and the captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, have changed the king's words and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Right. So the Most High sent an angel for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because they had faith in the name. Like I said, that's the power that we serve. We serve the same power that helped these men out of the burning fiery furnace, man. The same power that sent an angel to deliver Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego out of the burning fiery furnace, man. All for the faith that they had in his name. And that's the knowledge of his omnipotency, which is all power, man. And that's the power that we serve, man, which is Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, man. I can't, like I said, I can't put a capsule on it. There's a certain strength that's innumerable, that's in the name Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, man. And that's the power that we serve, the power of yasharahla, man. Verse 28, it says, Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusted in him, had faith in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own power. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the power of Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego shall be cut into pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Which is true, man. There's no other power that can do such miracles as Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi. There's no power in the other gods, man. Because the Most High is the only God, is the only power. Verse 30, it says, Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. And that's basically that's the end of the story. And it goes to say that there's a certain power, which is the only power, essentially, is the strongest power in the name of Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi. And that is the power that we serve. And brothers need to understand the as the scriptures say, omnipotency of Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, and the magnificence of his name that we have an inkling of through the faith that we have in Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, you know. But with that, I hope my point is being made, that the name of the Lord and the power of the Lord is far beyond what we can number, far beyond what we can ever even give a title to, you know. That's why we have to say he is, you know. And I'm saying that brothers really should take heed to his name and understand the power that we withhold, because we have the Most High on our side, you know. And the scriptures say, if God be with us, who can be against us, man? And nobody, man. But you know, with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi. Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Call Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, the water, Abana Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi. Double honors be upon the apostles and elders of GMS, and peace and blessings be upon the Akim pushing its truth in the name of Yahawah by Hashem yahawashi, and the power that he has given us, you know. And the brothers risking their lives day in and day out to push this word, to give diligence, man. And yasharahla, shalawam.